Okay, today we are going to talk on the subject of uh, analysis of budget. This is going to be a little bit, I have covered many aspects, but this is a sequel. There are certain things which I will go in detail later on, which I may take it as a lecture or I may not take it as a lecture, but I would put in so detail that anybody can go and read and so that they can understand things very well. I would quote the judgment which are covered, certain things which I want to cover it, but I could not cover it because of preoccupation with some other things. But I would be taking it very shortly on that. I am C. Nitin Pathak, President of ISACA chapter Ahmedabad. This is a slide presentation which I already said I will cover in detail later on. I may talk it as a talk or I'll put it in my blog so that you can read it thoroughly and use it for all the years to come. Uh, then on 9th, Tuesday, we are going to cover indirect tax in detail by CA Vipul Khandar. You can use my blog CA Pathak blogspot.com. You can use YouTube channel where my past presentation is available. I am a ISACA chapter president. We are going to conduct CISA crash course, uh, which was planning to start on 6th February, but because we have a minimum threshold, mean number of members, number of participants, which will not happen, so we are not taking classes. Because of that, we are postponed to 20th, but 20th would be the final date. We would be going ahead. Please to support in ISACA activity. I need a support and somebody wants to support. Please welcome, call on me or WhatsApp me. These are my personal opinion. I'm going to next slide, please. DDT is abolished. Yes, DDT is abolished. The DDT is abolished. Because of that, there is a question dividend. We have to pay tax on that. The government has said that they will not be planning to collect advance tax on DDT. That is the payment. That is a statement made by Honorable Finance Minister Sitaraman. In 2020, we have got 6.48 crore tax filer. When they started in 2014, there were only 3.31 crore. For senior citizens who only have pension and interest income, they have proposed to have no written file needed because some bank officer, some specified bank officer would file a return on behalf of them, but only condition they should have only two income, pension and interest income, and and the account should be in the specified bank only. The assessment can be reopened. I could have gone in detail, but in this talk, I'm not going into detail of that. In case of serious tax evasion, the evidence of concealment of 50 lakh or more, they can reopen for 10 years with the approval of principal commission. These are all detail, but I've not covered in this talk, but I'll cover it in later on. One more important thing, direct tax Vivad Se Vishwas scheme is extended for one more year because of certain amendment in this act. Certain things which you thought that you would be winning, but now may not be. Because of some retrospective amendment, you can choose to go in direct tax Vishwas Se Vikas. One is 43B amendment where there is a judgment on which of Gujarat High Court has asked that in case of employee contribution fund, which are deducted in case of PF, EPF, and this fund, if you don't deposit before the due date of filing, due date of paying tax, say for example in PF, uh, you need to, suppose you have deducted for the month of December 20, you have to deposit on 15th January. If you deposit and you get a receipt of 16th January, you have to pay tax on that as per Gujarat High Court, certain High Court has not given the judgment in favor of that, but government has specifically changed the law act so that everyone has to pay tax. If paper tax is payable, even if you have filed before due date of filing return. And this, if you are one of the cases pending on the basis of this, you can choose to go on the basis of this because government has said it is for the clarificatory amendment. Though court may take a different opinion, but here you are paying only tax amount, no interest, no penalty, no concealment. It is better to go for direct tax viswat in certain cases. Please choose to do that. What are the most fundamental changes are made in goodwill? Goodwill, we thought that it's a depreciable asset and it is you are if you paid goodwill, if it is self-generated goodwill, it is not available as a depreciation, but you have bought a goodwill. And in the case of amalgamation and merger, you have a goodwill in your books. It was allowable as a depreciation. There were Supreme Court judgment on the basis that depreciation was claimed, and amalgamation, merger, demerger, there were creation of a goodwill. Now they say that goodwill is no more eligible as depreciation. What is the law as stand on today now? To mean a group of assets falling within the class, I'm defining block of asset. To mean a group of assets falling within a class of asset comprising tangible asset being building machinery, plant and machinery. This is tangible. In intangible, being know-how, patent, copyright, trademark, license, franchisee, or any other business or commercial right of a similar nature in respect of which the same percentage of depreciation is prescribed. But here in the block of definition, there is no mention of goodwill. But because of Supreme Court and other judgment, they were entitled to depreciation. This is started since 2012. Further explanation to the 3 to subsection 1 provides for the purpose of this subsection express asset means tangible asset. This is in relation to section 32 1 sub explanation 3. Intangibles being know-how, patent, copyright, trademark, licenses, franchisee, or any other business or commercial of a similar nature. Now, now what is government's view on this and how they have come to the conclusion? It is seen that goodwill in general is not a depreciable asset. In fact, depending upon the how the business is done, goodwill may appreciate or in an alternative no depreciation to its value. Therefore, there may be no justification of depreciation on goodwill in the manner there is no need to provide depreciation in case of intangible asset, particularly goodwill. Hence, government is of the view that depreciation should not be provided in goodwill. Say, for example, any company, Kodak was running good. At that time, there was a goodwill. Now there is no goodwill. There are many companies, either a business or profession. They have a goodwill once their business is growing. Goodwill as such doesn't depreciate in intangible terms. Though it is an intangible asset, always value increases if your business is growing. In view of that, it is proposed that from 2000 assessment year 2020, 21, 22, there will not be goodwill in the books of, there will not be a depreciable expense in at the time of filing return. Goodwill may be, you may keep it in the books of account. They, in order to allow the depreciation in goodwill, not to allow depreciation, they've made following changes. Section 211, block of asset definition has been changed. 32(1)(2) provide goodwill of a business or profession shall not be considered as an asset for the purpose of depreciation. Further, it is proposed that explanation 3 to subsection 1 of section 32 to provide that goodwill of a business shall not be considered as for the purpose of this section. And they have gone on further to say that section 50 of the Act to provide that in a case where goodwill of a business or profession form a part of block of asset at the beginning of 1st April 2020 and depreciation has been obtained under the asset of the WDV, block of asset would be removed in a manner as may be prescribed. So there would be a block of asset, we may say आपका इंटेंजिबल एसेट का ब्लॉक है इसमें डेप्रिशिएशन अगर है वो ब्लॉक एसेट में से निकाल के उसको अलग कर देना पड़ेगा, and you will not be entitled to depreciation for next year to come. And I'm not going to read for the valuation कैसे होता है, वो मैं नहीं जाता हूँ. Previous value का जो value है वो आपको मिलेगा, आपने जो पे किया वो मिलेगा, if none of other than zero. But if I'm not going to discuss 55, 55 का ये भी मैं नहीं बोलने वाला. But in nutshell, goodwill is not depreciable asset from assessed 2021. Any asset which you have bought it and in lying in the books of account, then it will be a capital gain on sell off with indexation. As such, self-generated goodwill is not even existent at any time. For profession, if they bought the goodwill or if they have not bought, they have generated, there is no question of depreciation or capital gain tax. That is my personal opinion. So goodwill was planned through creation of, and now this question no more exists. Goodwill issue is resolved. Now I am going into charitable section 11 and section 20, 1030, 1023C. What is the law as on today? 11(1)(d) or 11(d) is a corpus contribution received voluntarily. It is capitalized. Whatever income earned by you on profit and loss account plus voluntarily, out of that 85% you need to spend, 50% allowed out for carry forward, 85% you can carry it for 5 years. This is the way it was run. Now, what was happening? People were, what, suppose I give you an example, and suppose I have a corpus fund of 3 crore for buying a building. I bought a building for 7 crore. I borrowed 5 lakh from others, and I spend money from my voluntary contribution for the purpose of this. They say that the borrowing of a money and spending for the purpose of voluntary contribution is not allowed now. Any surplus, suppose this year I will spend more than what I'm supposed to do, so there won't be any carried forward. मैंने पहले ज्यादा खर्चा कर लिया तो next year 2020 में मैंने ज्यादा खर्चा कर लिया, I spend more than what I'm supposed to do, it will not be carried forward for the purpose of 31st March 2021. So any borrowing I did, so borrowing will not be allowed as an expense. When you spend the money, when you pay the money for borrowing, it will be allowed as an expense, as an appropriation of money. So one, you have to spend the money, you can't carry forward. So 11(1)(d). Now they have split that whatever voluntary contribution, whatever corpus fund you receive, you need to invest in the appropriation of fund. जो भी उनका जो 5 जो स्पेसिफाइड फंड है, बैंक में एफडी रखना, यूनिट खरीदना, उसमें आपको रखना ही पड़ेगा. If you don't do, it will be liable for tax. So they have made a new provision. They have come with a new provision. Let me now I am clear. वन वॉलेंट कॉर्पस है, उसको आपको इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. कॉर्पस का पैसा आपको बोरो करके आप कॉर्पस में कॉर्पस का पैसा लिएगा तो उसको एक्सपेंडिचर में नहीं जाएगा. रीपेमेंट ऑफ कॉर्पस borrowed money would be considered as an appropriation of fund. So this is how they have made a new way of 15% आप accumulate 50% you can keep it for saving, 85% you need to spend. If you don't spend you have to pay tax. 85% 5 year के लिए कर सकते हो. Now these are the way this needs to be. I think I have explained you in detail. Let me read also. Voluntary consent 11(1)(d) is the same. वो उसी तरह से उसका पैसा आपको 11(5) के स्पेसिफाइड एसेट में लगाना पड़ेगा. एप्लीकेशन आउट ऑफ कॉर्पस फंड आ गया. This amendment comes with effect from 1st April 2022. That is assessment year 2022-23. The application from loans and borrowing shall not be considered as an application under section electoral 1023C third provision, yeah 11(1)(a) or B. However, when loan or borrowing is repaid from the income of a previous year, such payment shall be allowed as an application. Instances have come to the notice where these entities claiming the corpus of donation to be exempt and at the same time they were claiming 85%. This is that in a situation that corpus income has been exempted and its application being claimed. In order to avoid that, They have come with this new this thing. Now I think we are very clear on charitable trust. Now I am going to ULIP. Many persons were investing in ULIP. I am not going into exact definition of ULIP, but not in nutshell. From 1st February 2021, if you invest in ULIP more than 2.5 lakh, either one policy or two policy or more than one policy, more than 5.5 lakh would be considered not for the purpose of this thing. ULIP has a two scheme. One is the investment and other is insurance. The 2.5 lakh you will be entitled for exemption under section 1010D, but over and above 10 lakh you have to consider as a mutual fund investment, debt fund in and debt fund or equity fund. On the basis of that you are liable for 1 year, 2 year इक्विटी का जो भी जो 10% 50% जो म्यूचुअल फंड का चार्ज है, इस तरह से आपको टैक्स लेना पड़ेगा. सो दे हैव इंसेंटिवाइज यूलिप. मैं आपके ये आपको पढ़ने के लिए डेफिनेशन मैंने डिटेल में समझाया है, बट दैट इज नॉट द मेन क्रक्स ऑफ दिस थिंग. मैंने आपको पहले बोल दिया था सेक्शन 224(10) says that if you are not paying employees contribution which you are supposed to pay as per 224 to section 224(10) subsection 10, the proviso says that it provides that inclusive definition include to any income received by SSE from his employee as contribution to any provident fund, superannuation fund, or any fund set up by ESI or any other for the welfare of employee. If you deduct the money from from employee and do not pay before due to filing return, it would be considered as deemed to be your income, and it will not be allowed on the payment basis. Even if you subsequently pay, still it would be not allowable as an expense. 43B has been amended. Pehle, previously there was an assumption. Gujarat High Court was not of this view, but many High Court has taken a view that if you pay in time at the time of 43B, it will be allowed as a deduction. Now law has made it clear that it will be it is an income. TDS on purchase of goods. This is a very new provision. There was a similar provision under section 2061H, which was this thing, but now buyer needs to deduct TDS at the rate of 0.1% on purchase. Suppose I'm a seller, so if my sale is more than 10 crore and I buy from a single person more than 50 lakh, then at the time of payment, I need to deduct 0.1% extra with effect from 1st July. This was provision reversed. If PAN is not provided, I have to deduct at the rate of 5%. 2061H was available by, in this case, buyer to seller. If you're deducting under 2061H, you don't need to deduct again under this section. But if you are in any way liable for any TDS, then this section will not apply. One more section which has come into a very draconian provision, but it is they are very clear. Until today, they have said under section 206 AA for non-financing of PAR at the time at the TDS rate was higher. 206CC says that at the time of filing non-furnishing of PAN number, TCS was higher. Now they have introduced a special provision, section 206(1) in the Act, specifically providing higher rate of TDS for non-filer of income tax return. What is it? You are provided with a utility. When somebody has given you a PAN number and he has not filed return for 2 years, then you have to deduct tax at higher rate. Higher means double the rate at which the provision is applicable. Suppose I have to deduct at 2%, then I have to at 4%, 4% or 5%, whichever is higher. Suppose if he's a professional, and I have to deduct, then I have to pay 10%. 10% into 10%, double the rate. So in that case, this provision would double. So are you clear? 206AB TDS would be a double rate, same way for TCS. 2061AB or capitalize any sum or income amount paid or payable or credited by any person referred to a specified person. TDS would be at double the rate, not less than 5% as per specified provision of the Act, which I've given the example of contract or professional income. Slump sale. There were few judgments under which slump sales were considered, if not paid, not liable for capital gain tax. Now they have covered to recoup that. They will include exchange and other way of mode of transfer also would be considered as slump sales. Slump sales means you are not distinguishing the asset of a whole organization or block of asset. You are giving in the block, and that is called slump sale. Fake invoice I have covered in the next slide. Carry forward of charitable organization I have already covered in the slide which I have already talked before that. Slump sales, which I have said it right now, like rationalization of provision of slump sales with effect from 21-22. 50B contains the provision capital exchange include exchange, relinquishment, or any other way where transfer is of a asset is done. So slump sales asset was included. Now this is a benevolent provision which will be applicable to LTC. This would be applicable to an employee for the assessment year for the period of 1/4/2020 to 31st March 20, assessment year 21-22. He has been they've been provided section under section 10(5) LTC. LTC is a provision by which an employer giving him giving a leave travel concession for him and his family for air travel, raid or road, whatever it may be, and he is entitled for in a block of 4 year, one time for hometown other than hometown, and if he travels, then his income was exempted. But because of pandemic, they were not able to move. So government has given a different provision so that even if they move, they are entitled for LTC. It is also explanation where individual claim allowed exemption second provision which are here. Option in lieu of LTC block of 1820 is specified expenditure. Specified expenditure means an expenditure incurred by an individual or a member of his family during the specified period. Specified period means 12th October 2020 to 31st March 20. And if he has expended a goods or services which are liable at a 12% GST and he has paid this money by check and on the basis of the GST is paid, then he would be entitled for exemption of this 36 per thousand per person. If I've got a four member, I would be entitled for 1,44,000 or one third of the specified expenditure. Suppose I'm entitled for I've got four family members, me, my wife, my son, and daughter. We are entitled for LTC. And if I spend, say, I borrowed, say, 3 lakh rupees, 3 lakh 33 per third, one third, 1 lakh 40,000 I was entitled for. 36,000 into 4, 1 lakh 40,000. So I will be entitled if I buy goods or services which is equal to 3 lakh payable at 12, 3 lakh payable at more than 12%. Suppose I bought a laptop, I buy a freeze. Suppose if I buy suppose I buy some books for my son, some software for my son, laptop for my son, where I have paid more than 12% GST, then I'll be entitled for this exemption. The payment of GST is registered under is made by an account pay check or drawn by account pay draft if the amount is received due to an individual as per the terms of employment from his employer in relation to himself. Family for the LTC is more than what is allowable such person. The exemption under the proposed amendment with effect, this amendment is available for 21-21, 21-22 only. Now This is a provision made to accommodate a builder who are not able to sell the property under distress. So what I'm giving an example, suppose my value of a residential house of a builder is say 1,50,000 and he sold me at a Jantri price less than Jantri price at less than 1,50,000. He has provided me 150 minus 20%. 1 minus 20, 150 minus 20 means 30,000. He has sold me at 1,30,000. If this is less than Jantri price, if I have not, if this provision would not be, it is more than 10% but less than 20%, I have to pay the the builder has to pay 20 the difference between these two as an income 56 to 10 and the seller has to pay capital gain tax. But because of this COVID pandemic, they have given an exemption with the following condition. The period of sale should be between 12th November 20 to 30th June 2021 and it should be the first time allotment of residential house. The consideration received as a result of such transfer not exceed 2 crore. Further, it is proposed to provide the consequential relief to the buyer as well as seller. Accordingly, if for this transaction circle rate may be difference between 20%, this amendment will take effect from 1st April 2021 and will be done accordingly 21, 22 and consequential year. Again, the value of it should be a residential house. It should be sold within the period 12th November 20 to 31st March 20. It should be a first allotment, not again made an allotment to somebody else and making to other. The difference will not be taxable. Labor welfare, which I have already covered, employment providence, for which I have already said that government has taken a step. Dispute resolution scheme for small and medium taxpayer. If faceless, the dispute resolution scheme would be faceless. It would be covered under Section 245 MA. There would be a dispute resolution committee consisting of Commissioner of Income Tax. The committee shall resolve of a class of person or a such person as may be specified by the board. The SSC would have an option to go for DRC or not DRC. Condition is that the return of income should be filed is less than 50 lakh. The amount even in dispute shouldn't be less than 10 lakh. And the further condition 132, 132A, 133A, no double taxation 1998. These are the SSC not entitled for those SSC which have been prosecuted, convicted, or under detention. That they are also not eligible to use this scheme. DRC is subject to such condition as may be reduced or is a condition they can reduce or waive the penalty imposable, grant an immediate prosecution. These section these DRS provided to reduce the litigation. Government want a peace of mind for both. Central government has also been out for notice official gazette which will be put before the parliament. The central government may for a purpose giving the scheme in official gazette. However, no such direction shall be issued after 31st March 23. They want this scheme to be available for 2 years only. Every such notification, this amendment will take effect from 1st April 2021. They have made a new scheme for small and medium class people. अभी तक फेसलेस स्क्रूटिनी थी, फेसलेस CIT अपील थी, now फेसलेस ट्रिब्यूनल भी हो गई. We shall establish a national faceless income tax appellate tribunal center. All communication between tribunal and appellates will be on elective May. Wherever personal hearing required, it will be done through video conferencing only. This is a very welcome step. They want to they mean that there will be a better utilization of resources, and as such many practitioner and many individual will be benefited, because those who are not staying in a metropolitan city, those who are very efficient but not staying in a big city, but they are efficient. They can develop the skill and they can beat many good lawyers. I think it's a very, because many times you don't need to be a good orator. You need to be a good presenter of the facts. Once you present the facts, you don't need to be a good orator. किसी को बेवकूफ बनाने स्मार्ट बनाने की कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है. It's very simple. जो लिखा वही पढ़ा जाएगा. I think faceless ITAT would again be implemented in many part of the this thing. Government wants least corruption. They are going into right direction. If supported by few, we can beat even China in many fields. But this is one step. I don't see that there are many miles to go. But one step at a time is not a bad thing. And it's good government is going on a right direction. But I always ask our individual to work hard to beat China also. Because we are not competing with Pakistan, we are not competing with Bangladesh. We are competing with now only one nation left. We are no more in race with USA also. We can beat them very fast. China has grown very fast and India is going to grow fast. When let me give a 2 minutes talk on my personal life also. We have introduced the scheme 996 in our office. What do you mean by 996? 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. Those who want to work in this way can come to a culture. When my friend says that, are you working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.? No, because I'm not working with that film right now. We are working only 10:30 to 7:30, but their frame of mind has changed. So they work differently. And one more thing which I love about China was in America, in China, they have selected 500 person. वो 500 लोगों को इन्हें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के बारे में पढ़ाया. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस क्या है? इसमें एक एल्गोरिदम होता है, एक डेटा रीडिंग होता है, एक डेटा होता है, उसके ऊपर से आउटपुट बनती है. आउटपुट बनने के लिए इनको कंप्यूटर का स्पीड चाहिए. सो these are the three things and India has got everything there. Only thing, ecosystem is very poor. What do you mean by ecosystem? Ecosystem, when you invest, there is a person who is looking after money and technocrat, and there are people working, and on the basis of that, all ecosystem work. There is a technocrat is a person who has an idea, and there is an entrepreneur who are ready to invest the money, called venture capital fund, and there are way of mechanism they are working. If that works, India can bet. And I tell you, because of AI, China has developed a very good uh, niche on in competing with America on this field. I'm going to talk on next. My subject is AI as a race. I have given my talk on AI on a few days back. Now it will be supported by AI and the race among the people. And I'm talking about in that I will talk about where USA is, where China is, where European countries, and where India is, and how can India go ahead with that. And I was giving one story which I missed it in the mid was uh, China has selected 500 technocrats, 500 people, and they have been trained in AI. They were not IIM IIT, they were only less than a graduate. And on the basis of that 500 people training for 5 weeks, and they've been given an assignment to do something on AI. And they were able to move a car on like Tesla, which can run on the road, not as big as Tesla, but the car was able to move with red light क्या है, yellow बत्ती क्या है, green light क्या है, road पे कौन pedestrian जा रहा है. So what I'm saying in our office, we have got a computer, we have a client, and their data is there. You have to come and finish the work. So this is the way we are working, and I think I'm talking about but any person in Ahmedabad or anywhere around the world, if they have a vision to serve the society, serve the client, they can bid it. Be it may be. Let us go on relaxation to India. There are many NRI clients coming to India. They have an issue regarding DTAA, the tax credit which they are paying there. Their mechanism and our mechanism is different. There were many times tax credit were not available. So that government, honorable finance minister has said that they would make suggestion and make a rules on the basis of that, which would make NRI friendly for double taxation also. To Section 271 AAD to impose the penalty on a person or person who causes such person to make a false entry to omit an entry. This is the provision which was introduced in last year on the basis of that those who have made a false entry in a books of account or entry which they are supposed to pass, but they have not passed. These are these are creating a tax evasion, and to avoid entry evasion, they said that penalty would be leviable upon it. It is highly likely the taxpayer may also evade the payment, and such if imposed. Hence, in order to protect the interest of the, it is proposed to amend the provision under this law, Section 281B of the Act, to enable the assessing officer to exercise the power under this section during the pendency of procedure for imposing the penalty under Section 271(1)(d) of the Act if the aggregate of a penalty is likely to exceed 2 crore. And this amendment will be effective from 1st April. Many amendment this year is effective from 1st April 2021. This is the first time we have seen so many changes are there. And they also levied provisional attachment also 281B, which I'm going to take in the next slide. Exemption from audit limit. Currently, if your turnover exceeds 1 crore, it has been extended to 5 crore. Now this year is further extended to 10 crore with the only rider that you should provide more than 8% profit if you are a turnover, if you are a professional more than 50%, and further 95% of transactions should be through digital mode only. Suppose if somebody is a doctor whose income is 2 crore and if he is receiving cash more than 10 lakh or either making a payment more than that much, then this section will not be available. Government knows audit uh, auditor doesn't use the duty they are supposed to do, or they might have another reason also. I'm not blaming any community on that, but this is the view taken by government. In the previous budget, DDT has been levied, so dividend is taxable now. In order to avoid the ease of compliance, I proposed the government has decided REIT and IIT exempt from TDS. Further, the amount of dividend cannot be estimated correctly. Government is saying that you don't have to pay TDS on that. Also, foreign portfolio and the deduction of lower rate of the treaty, FIPB, FPP, FPI, FIPB, they are allowed to have a lower treaty rate. To incentivize infrastructure bond, government has allowed zero coupon bond to be published in the market. ATIBA, investment in housing project, which government wants to initiate to run the economy. As the housing project goes up, the whole spending on housing would improve. So that affordable housing scheme, there is the year is extended by 1 more year, 100% of profit available from it. The other condition which were mentioned in that scheme remains the same, only extension of 1 more year. ATEA, the person individual who is buying a house of a affordable scheme subject to 40 lakh 25 lakh जो भी हुए उसने now that loan amount generally available under section interest on housing loan available section 24. Now in addition to 24 we are entitled for under section 80 EEA more than amounting to 1.5 lakh. The housing project can be completed within 31st March 22 and they can take the loan before 31st March 21. This is attracting foreign investment into infrastructure sector. In the last budget for attracting a foreign investment in infrastructure sector, granted 100% tax exemption subject to certain conditions. to foreign sovereign wealth fund and pension fund on their income from investment in Indian structure, it was noticed that few of such funds facing difficulty in meeting their some of the condition. So FIPB sectors were asking for some demand in order to ensure that large number of fund invest in India. Certain relaxation is made, like private funding restriction of commercial activity has been removed from them. Gift City is a project of Prime Minister of India, Modi साहब. इन्होंने उनको इंसेंटिवाइज करने के लिए 4 एक्स्ट्रा एग्जाम्शन दिया है फॉर एयरक्राफ्ट लीजिंग कंपनी लीज रेंटल पेन टू फॉरेन लेसर relocating of foreign fund in the IFC to invest division of foreign banks to located IFC. अगर ये करते हो तो ग्लोबल में ये IFC गिफ्ट सिटी वाले को फायदा मिलेगा. पहले प्री फिलिंग में पेंशन और इंटरेस्ट इनकम आती थी. नाउ द डिविडेंड एंड लिस्टेड सिक्योरिटी की हर चीजें, आपका शेयर कहाँ बेचा, शेयर कहाँ खरीदा, इमूवर प्रॉपर्टी कहाँ खरीदी बेची, ये भी प्री फिल्ड फॉर्म में आ जाएगा, सो दैट यू विल नॉट मिस एनीथिंग विच यू आर सपोज टू मिस. चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट में जो पहले 1 करोड़ की लिमिट थी 1023C, the limit is from 1 crore is increased to 5 crore, but now it is merge education activity and charitable. Both activity मिला के होता था. पहले इंडिविजुअल 1 करोड़ मिलता था. नाउ इट हैज बीन 5 करोड़ एक साथ में कर दिया. ATIC स्टार्टअप जैसे इन्होंने हाउसिंग का जो अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग का स्कीम बढ़ाया, इसी तरह से इन्होंने 31 मार्च 22 के लिए ATIC में भी इन्होंने 1 साल बढ़ा दिया. नाउ ये मुकेश अंबानी साहब थे और काफ़ी रिच IIM IIT जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनी बड़ी बड़ी नौकरी करते थे, वो अपना जो प्रोविडेंट फंड का जो पैसा था, अपना जो इनकम थे, उसमें 2.5 लाख से ज़्यादा भी ये लोग एम्प्लॉय प्रोविडेंट फंड में रखते थे. गवर्नमेंट डजंट वांट देम टू डू दैट. Government say you use your money on your own. You will not be entitled for interest exemption if you invest more than 2.5 lakh. They were not worried about their 2.5 their ATC limit. They were putting their money. Suppose Mukesh bhai Ambani ने अपने 3 करोड़ का सैलरी में से 1 करोड़ वो एम्प्लॉय फंड में डालते थे, प्रोविडेंट फंड में, सुपरएनुएशन फंड, 3 में से कहीं भी, then they were entitled to interest free. But now that interest free is gone, interest has to be paid on that. Okay. Thus, interest on contribution exceeding 2.5 lakh will be taxable. This restriction shall be applicable only to contribution after 31st March. This restriction shall be applicable. बराबर संभाल सिंह जोई लेजन check. This restriction shall be applicable only for contribution made on or after 1st April 2021. This restriction, PF is equal to contribution fund and statutory provident fund. So now if any employee we put money more than 2.5 lakh, suppose somebody has put a 12 lakh, 2.5 lakh पर जो भी इंटरेस्ट आता है वो टैक्स फ्री है. बाकी ऊपर जो भी इंटरेस्ट इनकम वन होती है वो टैक्सेबल होगी, उस पर TDS भी कटेगा. अभी पार्टनर के केस में जो पहले जो स्कीम थी, तो जैसे मैंने मैंने मेरा मेरा आई एम ए पार्टनर इन ए कंपनी, आई हैव इन्वेस्टेड 5 लाख. अब मेरे को 2 लाख रेम्यूनरेशन ये मिला, 7 लाख होगा. इफ आई विड्रॉ फ्रॉम द कंपनी and I just come out of the company and I get 10 lakh, either as a asset allocation, tangible or intangible. If that asset value is 10 crore, 10 lakh, I have to pay 3 lakh as a tax. So पहले जो स्कीम थी 44 section 45 4A is introduced to remove any anomaly in the mind of person. Whatever investment made by you, whatever interest you earn, whatever dividend, whatever remuneration you did, इसके साथ ऊपर जो भी पैसा मिला either directly receipt of monetary fund or or view of a goodwill, tangible and intangible asset. You have to pay the difference between these two under Section 45, Section 45 4A. Not only that, this has been further streamlined that BOI, AOI, AOP, both are entitled in the same way as these things. Any taxability surplus would be liable for that. ये क्लैरिफिकेशन ऑन इक्वलाइजेशन रही, ये जो ई वे कंपनी थी जो पैसा मिलता था उनको रॉयल्टी और बाकी जो पैसा मिलता था उन पे टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा एट द नॉर्मल रेट, एट डी टी डबल ए रेट। पहले ये लोग ये सोचते थे कि इक्वलाइजेशन रैली से हमने 2% पैसा भर दिया तो आपको कोई टैक्स नहीं भरने पड़ेगा। नहीं, इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट। Clarification on equality, they have given a whole different section with explanation. In order to provide certainty, it is expressly given the transaction taxable income tax are not liable for equalization duty. जो income tax act में liable है उसको equalization duty नहीं लगेगी। Further, it is all proposed to verify the applicable of equivalent levy on physical offline supply of goods and services. Insert section 163 of Finance Act can consider received or receivable, specified to consider received or receivable for e-commerce supply shall not include consider which are taxable as royalty or fees for technical services in India under the Income Tax Act as well as central government under section 1991A of the Income Tax Act. AR has been removed. Now no more settlement commission gone. With 281B I've taken there. Now this is regarding attachment. Assessing officer may provisionally attach the proper assessee those who are involved in more than 2 crore crime. For the purpose of that, they have made a fake invoice or not pass an entry which they are supposed to pass. With the prior approval, principal chief CID, DG, chief CID, chief commissioner, DG, principal commissioner, principal director or commissioner or director of income tax, they can attach the property for the period of 6 months. They are allowed to withdraw the attachment if they pour a bank guarantee of the sort. Bank guarantee can be revoked. The power of this section can be only exercised by assessing officer with the prior approval of commissioner as mentioned above. So they have this section, those who are in a serious crime, before assessment, their property can be attached. Section 281B. Your assessment is not done. Still assessment is pending, penalty is pending. Still section 281B available. ये मैंने पहले ले लिया, I am not covering here. I've already covered here above. No advance tax or dividend which I've covered, but I'm for the purpose of clarity, I am saying that no advance tax on dividend except deemed dividend. Deemed dividend को dividend में नहीं गिना जाएगा। अभी तक एडवांस टैक्स की प्रोविजन से कौन कौन बाहर है? डिविडेंड सेक्शन 224(10), PGBP profit which arise on the date 115 BBDE1, ये 21 करोड़ का 10 करोड़ हो गया जो मैंने ऊपर कवर कर लिया है। Now I am talking about revised date of filing return. From next year onward, you cannot file return after 31st December. The scrutiny period is less than by 3 months. Block assessment is reduced to 3 years. 153, 153AB. पहले जो मिलती थी वो एक ही नोटिस आएगी या 2 नोटिस है, वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है। Your block assessment would be only for 3 years. Settlement commission is over. The files lying with them have an option to withdraw settlement commission. You can withdraw and will be handled by the committee. The concept of reason to believe, पहले assessment reopen होता था तो reason to believe होता था, अभी reason to believe नहीं आएगा। इनके पास स्पेसिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन होगी वो आपको बताएगा, और they would have got a mechanism by which read this thing. They will issue a SOCOS notice. SOCOS notice will be served with the detail that these are the income or these are the expenses which you are wrongly claimed on the basis of risk AI and risk management strategy, and or on the basis of CAG audit committee. पहले जो reason to believe था वो निकल गया. It has been replaced by this. and after that only reassessment would be done. So assessment proceeding has been quite different. मैंने वो ब्लॉक असेसमेंट निकल गया, 3 साल का असेसमेंट आ गया, 153 की नोटिस आ गया, everything is listened by 3 years. Revised date of filing return is also reduced to 31st December only. टैक्स न्यूट्रल कन्वर्जन ऑफ अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव, इनको कुछ अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक को, बैंकिंग कंपनी का सर्टन पीएसयू को उनको वो करना है, सेल करना है, तो कैरी फॉर लॉस इज अनकंडीशनली वुड बी अवेलेबल. दिस इज फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ allowing them to offload the PSU, converting this thing into that, क्या बोलते हैं, uncooperative bank to bank, so that somebody can take it. So under section 139, the provision for filing IT return, due date for filing return, belated return, revised return has been reduced. All the things have been reduced by 3 months. Under section 142.111, conducting inquiry for non-filer was by O, but additional authority is also allowed. Rationalize the provision relating to process of return of income and issuance of notice under section 143.2, 139.1, 139, 142 for notice under section to allow adjustment of increase in income indicated in the audit report, but not taken into account in competitive income. 143.1 में पहले ये पावर नहीं था, इनकम और इनकम और ये अलाउ. अगर तुमने टैक्स ऑडिट में कुछ लिखा है और उनके बेस पे उनको कुछ असेसमेंट करना है, तो आपको नोटिस देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. They can made adjust under section 143.1a. Time limit is reduced from for 143.1 from 1 year to 9 months, 143 from 6 months to 3 months. उन्होंने 44A में जो प्रोफेशनल इनकम बिलो 50 लाख है और जिन्होंने मोर देन 50% प्रॉफिट दिखाया है, पहले उन्होंने लिखा था कि ओनली इंडिविजुअल को मिलेगा. दे हैव अलाउड HUF पार्टनरशिप फॉर्म बट नॉट LLP, because LLP otherwise also needs to be audited. So there is no exemption given here. Relaxation of condition for carry forward loss of disinvestment in order to promote strategy, which I've already covered in case of amalgamation, or they provide a blanket permission under section 73 or yeah. GST is not very important, and I think question, if any, you can cover. You can email me nityanempathak@gmail.com. Call 9825804094. Our next talk is on Tuesday, 6:30 on Zoom. We can again meet. Any question, most welcome. Any question? We can take it later on.